Hello everyone. Before I present, I want to tell everyone that my iPad it just stopped working and a lot of my presentation got messed up and I lost one slide, but it wasn't that important. It was just a picture slide. That's all I want to say. So, hello, my name is Kyle Hoffman and this is my presentation on learning. In the year 2035, a worldwide epidemic broke out. Everyone is infected by a disease that makes people crave for human flesh. The disease broke out in lab H131, where scientist Dr. Kaneko tried to figure out the cure for calinitis.
Wait, calinitis, is that?
When Dr. Kaneko was doing cure tests on one of his patients, the patient bit Dr. Kaneko, and that is where the outbreak started. The disease spread fast worldwide. Everyone that I knew was goners, and I was lucky enough to be the last survivor on planet Earth. Me and a couple of other survivors are the last people to survive. This is the zombie apocalypse. I knew that this day would come sooner or later. I've come prepared for this moment, and I can't do anything to stop this apocalypse, but to survive. I have learned 5 important skills to use as my life tools to survive. During the apocalypse, I kept having flashbacks and saw visions of glimpses of the past. The visions I saw were when I first learned the skills in NPX that I've acquired now since 20 years ago. The tools in my life in the undead world that I use now is collaboration skills, gardening and harvesting, cooking, building, and responsibility. Me, Carl, and Rick are the last survivors on Earth. The only way I could survive is using those 5 skills. When I found an abandoned warehouse in Manoa and made it as our headquarters, the warehouse was empty and no supplies. So I went to Home Depot and went to get a bunch of supplies for survival. There are no more food in the market, and no way of transportation, even by plane, boat, or automobile. We were stranded in Hawaii. The only way we could survive was through planting and harvesting. But the problem was that there was no fresh soil to harvest in. And that is when my first clear flashback hit me. Oh, sorry. I saw myself back in NPX9 where I learned to build. That's the slide I was missing.
Okay,
Sorry. I learned how to build a hydroponic system back in NPX9. I learned to use drills, power saws, and other building utensils. I was taught how to graph and make a scale model of something I was building. It was so clear. We used the supplies we got and built a hydroponic system. We used a generator as a source of electricity for the pump. My building experience in NPX9 helped me to create traps for the infected and also board up the windows. If my teacher hadn't taught me that 20 years ago, I would have been dead. Although boarding up the windows and setting up traps helped, building the hydroponic system was only the first step. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Although boarding next I had to learn to harvest food. My partner Rick and Carl started to turn against each other. We had very limited supplies for survival, and we began to fight. I had another flashback, and that back when I would get into arguments with my group members. But at that moment, I realized that I was taught collaboration skills back in NPX9. My teachers taught me how to collaborate with my group better and figure out ways to solve our problems without killing each other. I remember my group went really downhill back in NPX9 from always constantly arguing and not helping each other. It was a catastrophe. After our teachers taught me and my other group members, we finally understood. We all started to collaborate and we got all of our work done and got back ahead of the game. After that flashback, I had to knock some sense into Carl and Rick and told them that if we didn't collaborate together, then we all die. This was the exact situation with my group members back in NPX9. that if our group did not collaborate, then we'd all fail. After we overcame that obstacle, we had to harvest food, and with the hydroponic system we built, so we don't starve to death. Then it hit me again. I had a vision of me getting seeds to grow plants in the hydroponic system. I remember that I bought seeds online, but obviously that wasn't going to happen now. I realized that I had to get seeds quick, so I ran to Lowe's garden section and got every single seed I could get to grow food. I remember also how to properly check what the pH level is what the pH level needs to be to grow the plants. And the way I remembered it was that it took a while for the plants to grow until they're ready to be harvested. We had to wait a while without fruits just to harvest our plants. In that time, we waited and built more and more hydroponic system and harvested a ton of more plants. As soon as we got our plants, I had another vision. I remembered about cooking in MPX. I saw a vision of me and my old teammates at KCC Kitchen. We were learning how to cook. I remember at KCC that we learned tips and got pointers how to cook a great dish. This helped me so much. It saved our lives. We could finally eat and not starve. So these are some pictures of me at home where I was. Since I didn't have my partners to come help me, I just cooked the dish myself, and then it really helped me a lot for the competition. Getting in there. I used my cooking skills and made my famous Parmesan chicken with fettuccine alfredo sauce and roasted vegetables with Carl, Rick, and I. Then I realized that this could be more use for us. I cooked bait for the zombies. I set bait near a trap that I built and captured one. Then I did experiments on an infected and tried to finish Dr. Kaneko's unfinished work curing the disease. After all this that I went through, I realized that the most important skill that kept me alive so far is responsibility. This one is one that kept me alive so far. If I hadn't been taking the initiative and take responsibility, I would have been dead. I had another flashback. I saw myself in MPX and the cooking competition. I had to take the responsibilities and finish what I had to do back then. I remember in the cooking competition, I had to take the responsibility and do my part of the job. For example, when I was cooking, we were graded based on plating skills, taste, and cleanliness. After I was done cooking my part, I had to do something and not be idle. I took the responsibility to clean all the dishes. So anyways, at the cooking competition, we were graded on a lot of stuff, and I was finished cooking my part, so me and Ian, we cleaned the dishes so we can get a good grade on cleanliness too, not only on our dish, even though we didn't get first place or anywhere near there. After I was done cooking, I had to do some, I remember that we got a good grade on that. Everyone in my team took the responsibility to do as much as they can do to contribute to the team's success to a good grade. Why are all these skills important? Well, first off, building is very, very important skill to have. Building engineering is important because it increases your skill in building designs and constructions. Also, being a builder can carry out a great deal of responsibility as they are ultimately in charge of the entire project design. Next, why is gardening and harvesting so important? Gardening and harvesting is important because mostly you can save money, especially with the hydroponic system. Also, it's a great way to make sure your food are growing healthily. If you went to a supermarket, you don't know how many people have touched the food before you. It's always good to save money and just good skill to have. Why is cooking an important skill to have? Cooking skills will teach you to cook great food that tastes amazing. Saves money, and in the long run, it'll help you lead a happier, healthier life. It's also always nice to know that if your parents are too lazy to cook, then you know how to cook yourself. You can also cook for them. being collaborative is very important because it just makes life that much easier. Being collaborative is more than just doing your part. It is all about teamwork. Collaboration can help you get through any problem faster, quicker. You can also learn from other people's ideas and contribute into the group. Last is responsibility. This is the most important one. Responsibility is important in teaching accountability and ownership for mistakes as well as achievements. This year has been such a great experience. If it weren't for Mr. Kaneko and Mrs. Calabro, or I should say Dr. Kaneko and deceased Calabro, teaching each of us these important skills, I wouldn't have ever survived the zombie apocalypse. Thank you all for your time. Sorry.
What are you most proud of regarding this PoL experience?
This was actually a really fun project or presentation to build. So I was proud about my plot, like the theme of the story, because the skills that I learned is pretty much the same as everyone else's, but I just thought my theme was pretty good.
I think so too.
I just can't get my script all of it.
Any questions for Kai?
Yeah.
How do you get this name?
Liam told me.
Oh, snitch.
Yeah, you know me. You're helping me out, and then you're like, "What's your mind to me?" You're like, "How nice."
Okay, any other questions?
I have a problem.
Yeah.
I think you said,
You were the last
yeah, you said you were the
survivor.
last.
One of the last.
You said you were the last
Okay, okay.
survivor.
Why?